Hi guys, so it seems to have fallen once again to the leader of the SNP in the House of Commons, Ian Blackford, to attempt to hold Boris Johnson to account. The Speaker of the House struggles to hold Boris Johnson to account, and the leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, had a few opportunities to really get under Boris Johnson's skin on Wednesday, but he didn't really do that. There was an opportunity to raise the issue of Boris Johnson describing his Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, as totally effing hopeless. And I think it could have been a great opportunity for Keir Starmer to suggest perhaps other members of cabinet are totally effing hopeless. But he didn't do that. I don't know why, but at least somebody is attempting to hold Boris Johnson to account. So let's hear Ian Blackford, who's raising the issue of farming and how farming has been affected, especially in Scotland, by this trade deal with Australia.
Mr. Speaker, this morning, the details of the disastrous trade deal with Australia are slowly seeping out. It tells us everything that we need to know, that these details are being celebrated in Canberra, but they're busy being concealed in London.
And that's true. The acting Prime Minister of Australia was interviewed on Australian television on Wednesday, where he was saying, this is great. This is great for Australian farmers. He was asked about what he thinks about how he feels towards Welsh, Scottish, Northern Irish and English farmers, and he said basically he doesn't give a crap.
For all the spin, it's clear that this Tory government has just thrown Scottish farmers and crofters under their Brexit bus, just as they sold out our fishing communities. So today, those with most to lose from this deal don't need to hear the Prime Minister's usual waffle. Their livelihoods are at stake, Prime Minister. Just this once, they deserve honest answers from this government. Can the Prime Minister confirm that from day one of this deal, 35,000 tonnes of Australian beef and 25,000 tonnes of Australian lamb will be free to flood the UK market tariff-free?
Minister. Mr. Speaker, this is a great deal for the UK, it's a great deal for Scotland, it's a great deal for Scottish whisky, it's a great deal for Scottish business and services exports, it's a great deal for Scottish legal services, but it's also a great deal for Scottish farming. And how tragic, how absolutely tragic that it should be the posture of the Scottish National Party, Mr. Speaker, to see absolutely no way in which Scottish farmers could be able to take advantage of the opportunity to export around the world.
It's not about export to where? And if you're competing with the Australians who have ranches the size of the country of Israel, you know, how are Scottish farmers supposed to compete with that? This is about gutting farming. They've even told farmers you'll have 15 years to, quote unquote, adjust. Adjust to what? Adjust to closing down? Adjust to getting out of the industry and doing something else? What do you suggest they do? This is about ending farming to a certain extent in the UK. This is not good for farming. This is the opposite. I've said before, some of these trade deals, it would have been better for Boris Johnson to do nothing. Do absolutely nothing. Leave things as they are. This is worse than doing nothing.
What he doesn't realise is there already are £350 million worth of UK food going from this country to Australia. This is an opportunity to turbocharge those exports, to get behind Scottish farming and encourage them, Mr. Speaker, not run them down.
So you just have to, once again, we're back to the Brexit mentality. Just believe in it. If you believe, you know, in farming, then it will succeed. It doesn't matter if there are tariffs taken away that are protecting farmers. You just believe in it. Once again, resorting to the Brexit mentality.
Blackford. My goodness, I don't even think the Prime Minister can believe that tripe. Mr. Speaker, in the Tories' desperation to get a post-Brexit trade deal with somebody, with anybody, they've given the farm away, literally. It is blindingly obvious who the winners and who are the losers in this deal. Australia's economy will benefit to the tune of $1.3 billion a year. The UK government's own assessment says that the Australian deal is worth just, and I quote, 0.02% of GDP. Mr Speaker, you would need 200 Australian deals to come close to mitigating the cost of Brexit. We were told that Brexit was all about taking back control. But for our farmers and for our crofters, there's been no scrutiny, there's been no consultation, and there's been no consent. So if the Prime Minister is really confident about the benefits of this deal, does he have the guts to put it to a vote in this House?
I think what Ian Blackford should have also reinforced is the idea that the Scottish people did not vote for this. The Scottish people did not vote for Brexit. The majority of them voted to remain in the European Union, to maintain these tariffs that would have protected farmers. I think he really should have went to town on that issue, because this is something that's, the Scottish people are pretty upset about, being torn out of the European Union. They did not consent to that. It was mainly a right-wing English idea, and the Scottish people, businesses and farming are suffering the consequences of that.
Mr Speaker, the people of this country voted for this government to get on and deliver free trade deals around the world, and I believe they were totally right. He talks about tripe, Mr Speaker. Well, I can tell him that when it comes to exporting the intestines of sheep, which I know is a valuable part of Scottish tradition, even that is now being opened up around the world thanks to the deals that this country is doing. And Mr Speaker, if he is saying that he wants to go back into the EU, hand back control of our fisheries, hand back control of our agriculture.
Going back to the EU would be better than the current situation. You're taking things away from them, things that they originally had. And you're trying to tell them, yeah, we're taking these protections away, but it's in your interest.
To Brussels, lose all the opportunities that this country has gained. I think he is frankly out of his mind and going in totally the wrong direction. And if he means a referendum, another referendum, Mr Speaker, we had one of those.
Now, Boris Johnson is continually pushing the idea that this trade deal is a wonderful opportunity for farming. It's a wonderful opportunity for British exporters. So, of course, that's going to benefit the economy of the United Kingdom as a whole. That's what, that's the implied message here. We're going to do better because we have these great opportunities. The problem with this is that one politician in the Conservative Party is sort of undermining this. Now, I can't remember his name. Oh, yes. His name is Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson here was asked by Australian media about about the benefits of this trade deal from an economic point of view. And listen to what Boris Johnson actually has to say.
I think that this is important economically. There's no question about that. I'm not going to exaggerate the overall increase in our respective GDPs that will flow from this, but I think it's more important politically and symbolically.
It's more important politically and symbolically. There we have it. This was not about increasing trade. This was not about creating jobs. This was not about benefiting the UK economy. He said it himself, politically and symbolically. This is politically in the sense that it helps Boris Johnson. Look what I have delivered. Look at me, I'm succeeding. And symbolically for Brexit, I have to demonstrate to the public that Brexit is a success. Brexit is a disaster, but if I can convince the public that it's a success, then I have won. Doesn't matter about reality. It's all about image. It's all about interpretation. Boris Johnson telling the truth for a change. This trade deal is not about creating jobs, not about exporting, not about great opportunities for British businesses, exporters or farmers. It's about saving his arse. It's about convincing Brexiteers who voted back in 2016 to destroy their economy, to destroy their society, to end things like freedom of movement, which is very bad for the younger generations. We have to convince them that this was a good idea. And here it is. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?